So the whole concept is environmental justice and youth. So environmental justice is something that EPA has really been at the forefront of since the time of President Clinton came out with an executive order in '94, and we continue to really, I think, especially under the leadership of our current administrator, take it very seriously. And we're working. We just were in Compton yesterday, and we spent a lot of time. We can walk over here. We spent a lot of time in LA. We've got a focal point on the I-710 corridor, so all the cities along I-710, and working with them to try and do a number of things. One, make sure that the laws on the books as they relate to everything from toxic waste to clean water to clean air are properly enforced. So we have a great project called Spot and Squish. So we bring community members out on a bus tour with all the enforcement officials from local state feds, and then we 100 days later bring the same people on the bus tour and show them the enforcement actions that we've brought, all the investigations that we've done. So we're working a lot with the Port of LA Long Beach, and now we just yesterday designated the LA River as a traditionally navigable water. So that was our big contribution yesterday.
And so the impact of that announcement would be, or that designation would be?
Really, it means that, one, we're treating the LA River seriously and saying this is a huge resource for the communities that live along it, and LA was built around the river, and I think some people have doubted that it really can be restored. I think so. The first thing is it's a vote of faith in the river itself and the communities that live along it. And then from a technical perspective, what it means is that the Army Corps of Engineers will become the permitting agency. So the activities that are currently along will all need to be brought into compliance, and so it's a higher level of protection. Look at this. This is good.
So this youth and nature seems to have really taken off, especially on the federal front. What was the beginning of that?
At the beginning of this initiative was the president saying, we need to get out of Washington, D.C. We need to listen to people that really in some cases get the benefit of the great outdoors, but in many cases don't have the opportunities to recreate in the great outdoors. And so the reason for coming to LA was really to say, they could have gone to Yosemite, they could have gone to Lake Tahoe. It's really saying that this is our environment. So inner cities, urban areas are where the majority of Americans live. 80% of us live in cities, and yet we tend to think of the environment and the great outdoors as somewhere else you need to travel to. But as you heard today, many of the people just want to go to their local park, and they're concerned about safety, they're concerned about gangs, they're concerned about how they actually get there. And so I think really this is kind of a watershed moment for rethinking what it means to be outdoors, what it means to be in one's environment. So I think it's significant, and I think you'll continue to get a lot of support from EPA and from Administrator Jackson.
And so is this part of the Connecting People with Nature initiative that began?
I think there's lots of, there's kind of nature deficit disorder that you hear about that. I think people are realizing that we have a health crisis in obesity. We have a health crisis in childhood asthma, and that the solutions aren't all medical. So we can come up with more and more drugs to deal with them, but some of them have at their foundation issues of not getting outdoors enough.
And which ones are those? Melodies.
Certainly asthma is an issue for us of both making sure you're outside and making sure the air is clean enough when you're there. So that's a big role that EPA has in this whole partnership, and you heard Lisa Jackson talk about that. Not enough to just go out here and say we built you a great turf soccer field. You need to be actually able to play soccer without getting asthma. But really, childhood obesity is, in terms of things on the national health radar screen, an epidemic of proportions that I think are incredibly troubling. So from our perspective, the more people can be out and in recreational settings rather than the opposite, which is indoors in non-recreational settings, those are things that can contribute to the greater health of our country.
Now, I've seen some research.
Okay.
And I'm going there too.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent. So,
Okay. Do you have a card?
Yeah, I do.
Great.
And I'd like to actually speak with you further.
Okay. We can maybe do it over there.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Great.
What are you?
Thank you.